Is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, great. So, good evening, guys. This is Naveen Garg, and I'm in the foundation part of the BS Data Science degree, and this is my little slides on the science communication. So, what is science communication? Let's go through with that. I assume it says, okay, first let me check. Is there anyone who has ever heard regarding the topic science communication? Not the communication science, that's a different thing. But science communication is a different thing. Okay. So, let me tell you. So, in the shortest words, science communication is simply a way of conveying science that is so simple. Simple in the sense that it makes the complex topic simple to the public listening to it or to the conveying to it. So, first go through the agenda. We will. This is the path we will take in the slides, from intro to goals to audience to strategies and finally to the conclusion. Okay, so yeah, science communication is all about making complex scientific ideas and morphing them into simple concepts that are easy to understand for the masses of the public. See, generally what happens is science is discovered by scientists who had a complex terminology to understand things, and what they do is they simply convey those understanding to people who are in the similar field, so they are able to understand each other with their complex terminologies. But what happens is the general public or the people who aren't really habitual with the such unfamiliar terms often get bored or often don't really understand such things. So the purpose of science communication is to make people understand, make people who are not from the science field or who are not in the specialized in the domain to understand those complex subjects in a simple manner. So yeah, well, so the goal of the science communication is, first is there are four major goals of science communication, that are to inform, to provide accurate and accessible scientific information, to let them know that this is a thing that is discovered or this is a thing that is recently searched on, and to educate, to make them know that how this thing that we have discovered is helpful, or why something that is happening is really helpful to us. Such as most people might see that the space research that is done is often waste of money. We spend billions and trillions of dollars and probably lots of money on such things, on watching galaxies from far away, or watching such things that we don't might even not reach in our lifetime. But then what's the use of that? The point is that they are useful. The phenomena we observe from them, or the knowledge we gain from them, we are able to make things, or apply those phenomena into making devices or making improving our life. Such as a simple example would be MRI machine. The MRI machine was made based on the discovery on the interaction of the astronomical things. So you don't even know what you find and how it might be useful. And the third purpose is to engage people in with their interest, to engage them into things, into science and things that are newly discovered. And the last purpose is to inspire people to pursue science, because science is what leads to innovation, and innovation is what leads to the growth of humanity as a whole. So the key audience for the science communication are generally general public, policymakers, because you see, you often need to make people understand, people who are in power, to make them understand why this thing is necessary. Oh, okay. What- Hello, am I visible?
Yeah.
Yes, Naveen, you're visible.
Anyone could have told me on the mic. I wasn't aware that my camera was off. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So the first we have general public, that people who are who we directly convey a message to, And then we have policy, because people who are in power, we need to make them know that why we do these things, and why this research is important, how is this research could affect us. And the third part is the media. The media is basically the connecting point of scientists to general public. And then we have educators and students, those who are intermediating points of new generation. And the last audience is industries, those who actually make those the research and the discoveries, bring them to real life and bring them to masses, so that people can uh, use them, or they can actually bring in benefits to the humanity. And yeah, then the what strategies do we use to understand, to effectively communicate science? So the first thing we can do is simplification of things. Often, as I mentioned before, that the utilization of such complex terminologies often result in being broad in the topic. So we should use simpler words and relatable metaphors that people can relate to. And another point we can use is visual utilization of charts and diagrams, such as that I have uses such these icons, especially to ensure that the engagement of user is there, of the the audience is there. They know that this is a part of a visual aid. And the other part is storytelling method. It is also see what we do generally in sciences, we describe things based on what they are. So often these things are often fragmented, but if we are able to find a way to make those things as a story, as a whole cycle of the story, like nowadays, if you have heard any documentary or so, they do engage in the behavior of storytelling. They show you an entire story of how things start, how they progress, and how it ends. So they engage us into important things that we retain in our mind. And the last part is utilization of social media. Nowadays, social media has had a big part in our life. It has made us approaching and understanding things much simpler than. And now we have new slide mode. Okay. So now what are the challenges we often find in the process of science communication? The first problem we find is misinformation. Like nowadays, if you have ever been saw any YouTube channel or anything, you must have noticed they often use clickbait titles, or what they do is they share half of the half information that is right in its individuality, but it doesn't correlate with rest of the things. So in half, if you have heard that half information is often uh, more harmful than having no information. And the point is the public skepticism. See, it comes public skepticism comes from their lack of understanding of the reasons of why we are doing this. Like in the COVID era, many people were fearing that vaccine has this or vaccine has that, and we will become great without the vaccine. But the point is, vaccine is not there to harm you. The vaccine was made to help you. And that happens because people weren't understanding. They weren't really want to understand that why it's because the terminology that were used were difficult, and there weren't that many people who were describing it properly in an engaging manner. Okay. And as I mentioned before, complexity is an term, is a phenomena that has become a part into the communication to you know showcase the knowledge. But we often forget it, that the purpose of communication is for us to convey our thoughts, for us to convey message properly, rather than adding terms that uh, you know hinder us. So simplification is always a preferred method in any kind of communication. And accessibility is something that the improving technology is helping with. So now we are getting things that now we can understand things much better. A familiar example of this could be the LLM models. Nowadays, first, if you need to understand something, you need to open up multiple blogs, or watch some videos to understand how things go or how is it. But nowadays with the LLM model, you can have a basic understanding or even intermediate understanding of anything in like half an hour, because you can simply give in a prompt and it will bring in things. Okay, so now who are some of the science communicators? So the first example, the first would be Carl Sagan. If you have heard, have any one of you saw Cosmos? Cosmos was a, yeah. So Cosmos was a, it was a show that used to come on National Science, National Geographic. But that was what we were recently watching was something new. But he wrote a series for public. He wrote a series for public for them to understand space science, the astronomy and astronomy in 1950s or so. So that's like. He was someone who started the to bring in science in a format so that normal people who aren't you know expert in the field can also understand. And another example could be David Attenborough. So if you have ever watched any of the uh, animal documentary, or most of the National Geographic documentary were voiced by him. So the storytelling method and the voice accuracy was he. And nowadays with the help of social media, you can often find many of the science influencers and science creators. One of the my most favorite is Hang Green. He often creates such, he often answers people queries in the YouTube. So nowadays we have a question, we put it on the web, he often finds such queries and answer them with the basis of science. And yeah, three blue one brown is also a channel that we often do, I believe, because it's a super helpful channel in the case of mathematics. And he is also, Grant Sanderson is the creator of the channel, and he is also a science communicator, as he help understanding science in a simpler format. And there are some people from India as well. In India, there the phenomena of using science to, well, maths is also in falls under science. Yeah, so what I was saying, yeah, in India there wasn't phenomena in about a decade or so back that people weren't really making things for other general public to understand. So, but nowadays we also have started to have some science communicator, people who are making things simpler for science, for people to understand. And an example could be Varun Maya, if you have ever watched any of his AI videos. Okay, so nowadays, if you want to learn any simplicity of science, you can go to any resource, such as any website or any social media channel or any magazine, if you like are a reader of offline things. Or if you want to simply listen to, you can also go to podcast. So with the improved technology, our ability and our approach to science has become much simpler than before. So I believe we all should use it and we all should learn science, even if we don't need it for our course and to gain marks, but to simply to learn for the hobby of it. Thank you. That's my presentation, and
Thank
I'd
you.
like to answer any question if anyone have.
Thank you so much, Naveen. It is actually very insightful, and actually, I've come to notice this is something very new to me. Okay, so judges and the audiences, we can have the questions now.
Okay, so I have a question. I find a question in the chat, so I'll answer that first. So Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of the science communicator, but he is poorly taken by the science community. What are your thoughts on that? Well, see, rather than the science community, I'll say people often criticize him for his views on politics and on the geopolitical things, because he basically he's an expert in the astronomy, but he has a habit of indulging into things that are beyond his scope. So if you ever watch his interviews with people in his specific domain, you'll find he is often really very knowledgeable, and he often explains things very easily. He simplifies things. So I don't think he is, taken poorly in the domain of science. Beyond that, he's simply his habit to not to stop in those things. Like if you have watched the recent Cosmos one, he was one of the host of the show, and he has conveyed the story very beautifully. Okay, so anyone else with any question?
Lokesh,
Yeah,
yes,
Lokesh,
Lokesh.
please do ask your question.
Yeah, hello, Naveen bhai.
Yeah, hi.
My question is related to misinformation. Na? So we recently seen so much misinformation falsely on YouTube and other media platform. Na? So my question is related: how can we curb the misinformation without violating their freedom of speech right?
Okay, so see, if the I don't believe in your see. Suppose if someone said any point, and if you are verifying whether that is true or not, or you are doing your own research, in my understanding, it does not violate any sort of any law. It's your choice to understand. It's your choice to trust or and it's your choice to properly understand whether what this person is saying is right or not. Like recently I was watching two conflicting views. One person was saying that eating oats is healthy. Has lots of fiber, protein, and they help you in weight loss and so and so. But I was also but I also watched someone saying that oats are unhealthy because they are anti-nutrients. They take away nutrients from your body. And the point was, in my example, both were true. The anti-nutrients were present. Oats have a ability to take away nutrients from your body, but that is so minute that first of all, it's washed away when when you wash it, when you cook it, and when you digest it, most of it is left away. What left is, suppose if it has 100% ability to do so, now it's left is only 1%. 1% of that part is not that harmful for us, so that we should stop it. So that's a hype creating point that was simply used as a clickbaity title and a clickbaity content as well. So the point he was saying was true, but it was not true to that extent to harm us. You're getting my point, Lokesh?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, thanks. So does anyone have any question? Hello.
Any other questions? So I think there is no further questions. So we can have our next presenter,
Oh,
Shivansh. Shivansh, you can take ahead from here.
okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Naveen.
you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you guys for giving me an opportunity for presenting the presentation and having a chance to do a bit of public speaking.
Lokesh, do
Have a
you
great day,
want to say
guys.
something? Your hand is raised. Okay.
Oh, just thinking, na, one more question related with that topic, misinformation. In 2021, I think government bring new law related with the media. IT Act side, I not IT Act side, IT Act 2021, where they will just uh, want to curb the misinformation related with, but some politicians, some activists um, um, want just asking the government that they just want to want to violate our freedom, any this kind of thing, the freedom of speech, these kinds of points they are just want to take. But the people now, people not understanding what is the real or what is the misinformation. So my question is best related with that the 2021 Act want to curb the misinformation, but but still some media, some platform not even following the rules and regulation the government introduced in 2021. Like we just seen some Apple Pay got banned. Uh, that arises.
See, I believe there are no answer that could satisfy the choice of people. like what I can say, the criteria for categorizing what is misinformation is needed. But the point is, if politics is added into it, then nothing makes sense and no actual reason matter. If you go into the life of scientists, you will find there were many scientists who had made really world changing discoveries, but their discoveries weren't used, or their discoveries were properly thrown away because it doesn't match the understanding of people at the time. And one of the most familiar example would be hand washing. In the till the, like, I believe 15th century or something, they the as the in the medieval era, as women were dying in childbirth, so there was one person who understood that we the problem was that we were doing postmortem of women in the morning, and in the afternoon or in the evening time we were using the same hands with the with women with the in the childbirth, and this might be causing death in them. So what he mentioned that we should wash hand, and he did it a couple
So
of
we
times,
can.
and he found it was helpful. The disease was not transmitting, and the women were being alive. But that people didn't understand it. People said that you are lying, you are doing this and this and this. So his entire research, which was showcasing that hand wash is important, was thrown away. And it was accepted after, like, 100 or something years after his death, a couple of decades after his death. So can you understand that hand wash, which is considered a very important thing in this time and age, wasn't considered important at that time, even by the medical doctors, not by the general public, by the medical doctors, people who are understanding, who are thought of as capable and knowledgeable people, who are used to consider hand wash as a scam practice. So yeah, politics add in, and many of the things add in that have no proper reason can make it valid. So yeah, that's all there is to it.